Are you ready to unlock the secrets to financial freedom in your business? Today, we dive deep into the myths and truths of accounting with expert insights that could transform your financial strategies. Stay tuned as we unravel the keys to leveraging your numbers for real freedom.
Running a home service business is hard. So how is it that some people make it look so easy? Well, we'll tell you. This is the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. It's always good to hear the wins that successful contractors have. But have you ever thought that the best advice would be to hear about the speed bumps they encountered, the mistakes they've made along the way? We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. We want you to be successful and avoid the mistakes others have made. Let's get this party started. Welcome to the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Now your host, Kristen Deese.
Welcome to Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Before we get started, a little bit about our mission. At Freedom Blueprint, our goal is to assist business owners in achieving freedom they dreamed of when they founded their business. We do this by discussing relevant topics, strategies, and even the speed bumps that we've all encountered as a business owner. We empower you to build a blueprint that unlocks freedom in your business. And today, we're going to talk about money and accounting. And because let's be honest, that's kind of the key driver to freedom, right? Like you got to have money to have freedom. That's what money's for. So joining me today is my amazing, spectacular, awesome wife. If you don't know who that is, her name is Kristen Deese, and she is bad to the bone. So thanks for coming and hanging out.
Thank you for having me.
So I think we should tell everybody you wouldn't even be in the same room with me to do this episode.
I do feel like it's worth addressing. We operate at different volumes, as anybody who knows us knows, and we have found that the audio quality is difficult to control when we're in the same room. So We're on the same half-acre lot.
Yep, we are. But we're in different buildings. So
Yep.
We're in different buildings. So what I asked Kristen to come on today because I wanted to talk a little bit about, accounting is just one of those things that in our industry, you can't avoid it. You can't not deal with it. You can't confront it. And if you don't do any of those things, then it's you deal with it or it deals with you, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I asked her about what are some common accounting myths in our industry, in the home service industry. And so, let's talk about maybe 3 of the top myths in our industry.
Yeah, I mean, accounting is super important in the company, and it's sometimes a lot of times one of the most overlooked. Not enough attention is given to it. And it's one of those things where, like you said, if you don't pay attention to it, it will get your attention and probably not in a way that you appreciate. So when we talk about myths and a lot of the things that I run into when I talk to business owners and kind of some of the, I don't want to say pushback, that's definitely not the word, but some of the moments come from things that they believed that then they learned were not necessarily the truth. So one of them is that just because you're not a numbers person doesn't mean you will never understand your numbers. And so often business owners are not necessarily numbers people. They're creatives and they're visionaries, and the intricate details of the numbers is just really not a strong suit for them. Like percentages aren't necessarily something that they can do in their head and different things like that. And so the belief that just because you're not a numbers person doesn't mean you won't ever get your numbers is completely false.
Well, and I can, right, so I can attest to that because I don't feel like I am a numbers person, but you've trained me well enough to know what I have to look for and how to spot things. So I'm even to the point now where if I see a P&L that's not in percentages, my brain explodes. Like I can't even I need percentages in order.
You need percentages.
Because that part I understand. I know what percentages each of my departments and things need to be in. But yeah, I think that's a good
I
one.
think
I think a lot of home service businesses owners are definitely not, I'm air quoting, numbers people.
definitely not spreadsheet people, definitely not rows of information. And you don't have to look at your numbers like that. You don't have to look at your numbers in a spreadsheet. You can make graphs and pie charts and colors and images and things to help grasp what your numbers are saying. It doesn't always have to be just in a spreadsheet full of numbers. And I think that's a lot of times where the intimidation comes from is it's hard to follow a line if you're not a spreadsheets person. It's hard to follow the line of numbers and to follow the visual because it just is. So when you make it in something that's a little bit more visually pleasing, you can usually get it faster.
And I will say, if you're dealing with someone that's not a numbers person, colors are really good. I know
Yep.
that's always been helpful.
Colors are good. Groups are good. I recently started to help people kind of restructure their profit and loss into, I think it's like 5 or 6 subgroups outside of cost of goods sold. Everybody can relate to cost of goods sold and what that means in the gross profit margin, but the overhead starts to get a little crazy and it's really kind of hard to grasp where money gets spent. So I took those and kind of broke them out and said, okay, these are the 3 or 4 items that have to do with fees to work with a bank. These are the handful of items of things that are different advertising and marketing expenses. These are the handful of expenses that come because you have employees. These are the handful of expenses that come because you have a fleet and a location. And so grouping things together like that tends to help the person who is not quite so numbers oriented at least be able to compartmentalize the types of expenses that are on their income statement. So that's been kind of a cool revelation, I guess you could
Well, because
say.
I think the first step for most business owners that are, and you can tell me if I'm off on this, but I think that, to me, I think the first step of understanding the numbers or the books or whatever you want to term you want to use is they start to understand the cost of goods sold, right? The direct expenses. That seems to be the first place that they start focusing, which is probably good. Like, I mean, you got to start somewhere, and that certainly can eat you up faster than most areas. But then, yeah, the step beyond that is, okay, great. Now that you know that, because a couple points here and there at the end of the month, I mean, that can be the
It
difference
makes a huge
between
difference.
being profitable and not.
Hmm. Yeah.
Great. So what's another myth?
Mm. So for anybody who uses QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Online has a feature that allows you to automatically port in your transactions from your bank statement and from your credit card. So every day it just basically dumps a bunch of transaction into your QuickBooks, and then you have to go through and kind of sort it out a little bit. The myth here is that that feature turned on makes you more efficient, and it does not. It actually takes longer to work through what QuickBooks automatically dumps into your, or what the bank automatically dumps into your QuickBooks than it does to just manage the transactions on your own without that. So it's the idea is supposed to be that you have less to do because QuickBooks is automatically routing all of those expenses to where they need to go. But in 9 times out of 10, QuickBooks chose the wrong account,
Oh,
or they're missing information, or and then you end up having to do a whole bunch of reorganization anyway. So it really is not saving you any time at the end of the day. So almost always, if I see somebody who's got that automatic banking transaction feature turned on in QuickBooks, turn it off.
well,
Turn it
I
off.
would think, like, to me, I would think that would make sense to turn it on. Like, well, sure, turn it on.
Right,
Like, it's going to automatically take my banking
right.
stuff, and but just hearing that, and it makes sense what you said. One and two, don't you audit it when you're typically moving it from the bank to the, like, isn't that your audit? Like when you're looking at it to go, yep, that's right, or, ooh, that.
It should be, but a lot of times it gets glazed over, or we assume that QuickBooks got it right. So what that feature is designed for is it's designed for businesses who have very few transactions and who are operating on a cash basis. Our service companies are not few transactions, and we should not be operating on a cash basis. We should be operating on an accrual basis. And that's part of where the challenge comes in is really that feature is designed for like maybe retail or restaurant where you are always getting paid the moment that you provide the service or product, and that when you buy the supplies and the product for that, you're paying for it immediately too. So you don't really have any vendors on account, or you don't really have accounts receivable and stuff like that. Then yeah, you could get away with doing the bank transactions and really just keeping a close eye on it. But our businesses in this industry are far too complex. It just makes it more complicated than it needs to be.
That makes sense. That's a good tip. Because again, I would have thought, well, yeah, you just hit that button and it's a magic, because we live in a society where we want quick and easy.
We want automation, right? Like we think it's going to be automation, but we also count automation, or we rely on automation to be correct when we turn it on. And so we can't just turn it on and say, okay, we're good, we're on, we don't need to mess with it anymore. And really, so when you're entering the things, or even reviewing the bank transactions, we want to make sure it's in the right account, that it has a vendor name, that it has an attachment, because we want to attach our receipts in there. We want to make sure it's got a class if it needs a class, all those things. And by the time you sort that out between what QuickBooks thinks it should be and what it really should be, you're better off just entering it from scratch and turning off that auto feature.
That's so counter to the world we live in.
I
To be
know.
honest.
I know, but that's why the owners and the visionaries shouldn't be doing the accounting work. The accounting people are the ones who are good with that, because they're perfectionists and they have attention to detail, and they would rather have the control of being able to manage the transaction from the very beginning than deal with the things that get dumped in from the auto transactions.
Okay.
So that's why your owner shouldn't be doing your accounting work, unless they are already a CFO-minded person, which some owners are, but those are few and far between.
Yeah. Yeah. I can think of
Two.
I was going to say two, because I was trying to think of three, but yeah, I can think of two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What's your third? Give me a third. I know you got a third.
Another one. Once a month financial review is enough to know where you are in your business. That is not
Okay.
true. There are a lot of other items that we can look at besides our profit and loss and our balance statement to know where we are in the company throughout the month. By the time we get our financial statements, even if it is by the 10th of the following month, we're looking at data that's up to 5 weeks old at that point. And there's not much we can do in our business to correct something that has gone awry 3 weeks ago. So 100%, we always look at our financial statements every month, but there's other things that we should be monitoring throughout the month. I know Paradise does the daily spreadsheet, right?
Every single day.
Daily spreadsheet that looks at each department looks at their revenue, their labor cost, and their materials cost every single day from the day before. And they keep it running throughout the month, and they know where they are in the month far before the reports come out, and can make
where we
adjustments
are.
accordingly.
Month to date,
Right.
minute to, yep. Guest stays on top of that.
Right. Yes, exactly. So you can know where you are in your business. I guess I could rephrase the myth is you don't know where you are in your business until you have your financial reports, and that is false. You can know where you are in your business throughout the month while you wait on your financial reports to get done, as if you're monitoring it throughout the month.
And I think about it from a sports perspective, right? Because that's just how my brain works. Think about sports. But can you imagine playing a baseball game and not knowing or even looking at the score until 3 days later? And then you're like, what do you mean I lost? I feel like I won. I feel like I won.
Yeah. I could have swore I hit a home run on that
God,
game.
I hit a home run. What do you mean I was out on that play? What do you mean? But yeah, I think from a sports analogy, and let's be honest, like we should be running our businesses. And this is going to sound bad, but I don't care. We should be running it like it's a game. Like we should be playing it like a game. We should be having fun like it's a game. And we should be watching our scoreboard like it's a game. And we should make sure that every inning we know, every top of the inning, every bottom of the inning, we should know what's going on. And we should know people's batting average and pitchers' ERAs and whatnot.
I mean, we were talking about this just a little bit ago. The business is full of feedback loops, and accounting is one of them. Accounting is one of your feedback loops. So Your output is your reports, the numbers that you're getting. That's your feedback. And the loop is when you take information that you're learning from the numbers your business is giving you, and you're making adjustments to your operations, and you're running it through the process again so that you can see what your feedback is. Did you improve? Did you stay the same? Did it worsen? That's your feedback. And you're doing that all over again. So if you're only doing that once a month for stuff that's, 3, 4, 5 weeks old, it's entirely too long of a feedback loop. So if you put other things in place that help you along the way between those financial statements, like your daily scorecards and like your average tickets and like your pacing revenue and all of the things that you're doing throughout the month, then we're constantly getting feedback and can constantly be making changes to operations based on that more real-time feedback. There's other feedbacks in the business too, feedback loops in the business. Customer reviews is a feedback loop.
Mm-hmm.
Your conversion rate is a feedback loop. Like there's so many different options and ways to look at a feedback loop, and accounting is in it just like all the rest of them.
Yeah, that's yeah. And what's bad is I think a lot of businesses they wait that period of time. If and even when they get the P&L, a lot of times they don't even know. Okay, so I got it. Now what? I know I was just talking to somebody a couple days ago, and they said, "Oh yeah, I got it," and then now what? Like they don't even know what to do with it. And I think that I think that if you don't know that, and you don't know when you get this scorecard, you don't know what to do. How can they know what to do?
Well, they can reach out to the virtual CFO for help for that. And I will also throw out that I think what I'm learning with working with these business owners is it's slightly less, I don't know what to do with the data, and slightly more, it's not right. I know this report is not right. I know these numbers are not right. I know that these expenses are not going to the right place, but I don't know how to fix it. And so then because their belief is that their numbers aren't right, which they might not be, they don't bother looking at all because they say, why bother if the stuff is not even accurate? And that's where we really start to see like the disservice of we're running our business blind if we're not running our business through our numbers and through our feedbacks. So the virtual CFO was originally it was born to help train in-house accounting people how to correct the financial statements when the owners figure out these are not right, but I don't know how to fix them. Great. Let's bring somebody in and train them up to get them right so that you can have confidence in your reports. And now that you're confident in your reports, let's learn how to read what they're saying. So that's the whole purpose of the virtual CFO in kind of a nutshell.
So yeah, when Kristen started doing this, I personally was kind of excited as she was launching the virtual CFO because I think that there's such a need, and I have firsthand knowledge of how you've helped not only our businesses but me understand all that, because early in our career I didn't care. I'm like, no, I sold all these giant jobs. There is money. If it's not in the bank, it's probably in the jet or like in a backhoe back there, like a giant glob of cash. You're like, what do you mean expenses? Like, who is this Uncle Sam and why does he want all my money?
Well, you would log into the bank account and you would see a balance in there and you were excited about it, and then you'd go out and buy something. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? That money has to go for this, this, and this. So,
I'm like, nothing you named is cool.
Step one was get you out of the bank account.
Okay, okay, as we were going through this process, and I always love sharing this because I think it's funny now looking back, but it was a little bit of a rub there for a minute.
It was a big rub. It wasn't a little rub. It was a big rub.
So finally, you're like, okay, I'm going to make you a spreadsheet. You're not getting access to online banking anymore, and you're going to get a spreadsheet. And it was like either Mondays or Friday. I think it was Mondays I got it. And Mondays it would have all the cash on hand, everything that was coming out, whatever, and then different color codes. And for years, that's how
That's how he knew what was, because what would happen is he would look at the bank balance and he would see, ooh, there's money in there. I can buy stuff. Not realizing that I already had that money earmarked for other things, other expenses that needed to be paid, all of the boring stuff, like payroll and taxes and stuff. And I created the little tool just to get him out of the bank account, but still feel like he knew kind of what was going on. And let's be real, we had some years where cash was really tight, and we rode one of these businesses through the 2008, whatever that was, and that was a fun trip.
We made it.
And
all the lessons we learned.
Oh my gosh. Well, that spreadsheet helped us. And I say spreadsheet, it didn't really look like a spreadsheet.
No,
it looked like a fun little calculator tool, because we know that we don't like spreadsheets. But that tool helped us communicate. It helped me communicate with you that we were not in a great place cash-wise, and it wasn't ever a surprise.
Yeah.
It wasn't that, okay, by the way, we don't have any more cash. And you're like, what the heck? I've been out here selling my face off. I don't understand. And so the spreadsheet, the tool, got to be the bad guy, not me. So anyway, we kind of deviated on that one, but that's a good tool. Like, we used that, those were numbers that we used that were more frequent than the monthly financial reports. Yep. And it was giving us feedback loops on where we were from a cash standpoint. Over the years, I've taken a lot of different smaller pieces and made calculators like that. Like, that was a cash calculator. We have a pricing calculator where you put in 3 numbers and you get out a result. Like, make it super easy. It does not have to be overcomplicated. That goes back to, you don't have to be a numbers person to get your numbers. We don't have to make this overcomplicated. We need to make it as easy as we can so that the numbers that you're getting are actually useful.
Yeah. So how would somebody connect with you if they're listening to this podcast and they're like, oh my gosh, I need help? Well, how would they get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me through my website, which is www.kristendeese.com, which will be in the show notes, I'm sure.
Of course it will be.
And they can also reach me through my email address, which is Kristen, Kristen, @gcbcoaching.com.
Fantastic.
Or through you.
Or through me.
Yeah.
I know where to find you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, here's another thing too. If you may know this, you may not if you're listening, but my wife and I wrote a book. It's called When Your Business Partner is Your Spouse. And if you don't have a copy, I mean, you should have a copy, if not 5 or 10 of them. But if you if you would like to get a copy, you can go to KristenDeese.com and pick up a copy of the book as well. So, boom, 3 myths for accounting in the home service space. Any last thoughts before we wrap it up?
The cash spreadsheet, the cash on hand spreadsheet we were talking about, is one of the tools and one of the stories in the book. So if you liked that nugget, there's a whole lot of more nuggets that go along with it in the book.
That is a fact. Well, cool. I appreciate you coming and hanging out. And thank you for hanging out and checking out Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Until next time, make sure you know your numbers. And if you don't, get help. Call Kristen.
You've been listening to the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Information is useless if not applied. So take what you've learned and go and implement it. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on social media at Freedom Blueprint for Home Services and hit the website at www.freedomblueprintpodcast.com. See you next time.